Absalom's Rebellion by Louis Ginzberg. Of all the punishments, however, inflicted upon David, none was so severe as the rebellion of his own son. Absalom was of such gigantic proportions that a man who was himself of extraordinary size, standing in the eye socket of his skull, sank in down to his nose. 97. As for his marvelous hair, the account of it in the Bible does not convey a notion of its abundance. Absalom had taken the vow of a Nazarite. As his vow was for life, and because the growth of his hair was particularly heavy, the law permitted him to clip it slightly every week. 98. It was of this small quantity that the weight amounted to 200 shekels. Absalom arranged for his audacious rebellion with great cunning. He secured a letter from his royal father, empowering him to select 2 elders for his suite in every town he visited. With this document, he traveled through the whole of Palestine. In each town, he went to the 2 most distinguished men, and invited them to accompany him, at the same time showing them what his father had written, and assuring them that they had been chosen by him because he had a particular affection for them. So he succeeded in gathering the presidents of 200 courts about him. This having been accomplished, he arranged a large banquet, at which he seated one of his emissaries between every 2 of his guests, for the purpose of winning them over to his cause. The plan did not succeed wholly, for though the elders of the town stood by Absalom, in their hearts they hoped for David's victory. 99. The knowledge that a part of Absalom's following sided with him in secret, that, though he was pursued by his son, his friends remained true to him, somewhat consoled David in his distress. He thought that in these circumstances, if the worst came to the worst, Absalom would at least feel pity for him. 100. At first, however, the despair of David knew no bounds. He was on the point of worshipping an idol, when his friend Hushai the Archite approached him, saying, "The people will wonder that such a king should serve idols." David replied, "Should a king such as I am be killed by his own son? It is better for me to serve idols than that God should be held responsible for my misfortune, and his name thus be desecrated." Hushai reproached him, "Why didst thou marry a captive?" "There is no wrong in that," replied David. "It is permitted according to the law." Thereupon Hushai, "But thou didst disregard the connection between the passage permitting it and the one that follows almost immediately after it in the Scriptures, dealing with the disobedient and rebellious son, the natural issue of such a marriage." 101. Hushai was not the only faithful friend and adherent David had. Some came to his rescue unexpectedly, as for instance, Shobai, the son of Nahash, who is identical with the Ammonite king Hanun, the enemy of David at first and later his ally. 102. Barzillai, another one of his friends in need, also surprised him by his loyalty, for on the whole his moral attitude was not the highest conceivable. 103. Absalom's end was beset with terrors. When he was caught in the branches of the oak tree, he was about to sever his hair with a sword stroke, but suddenly he saw hell yawning beneath him, and he preferred to hang in the tree to throwing himself into the abyss alive. 104. Absalom's crime was, indeed, of a nature to deserve the supreme torture, for which reason he is one of the few Jews who have no portion in the world to come. 105. His abode is in hell, where he is charged with the control of 10 heathen nations in the 2nd division. Whenever the avenging angels sit in judgment on the nations, they desire to visit punishment on Absalom, too, but each time a heavenly voice is heard to call out, "Do not chastise him, do not burn him. He is an Israelite, the son of my servant David." Whereupon Absalom is set upon his throne, and is accorded the treatment due to a king. 106. That the extreme penalties of hell were thus averted from him was on account of David's 8-fold repetition of his son's name in his lament over him. Besides, David's intercession had the effect of reattaching Absalom's severed head to his body. 107. At his death Absalom was childless, for all his children, his 3 sons and his daughter, died before him, as a punishment for his having set fire to a field of grain belonging to Joab. 108.